area through this entry tower is enclosed with walls. Inside the entry tower, most of the inscriptions relating to the temple of Sri Tribhuvan Maheshwar are located. These inscriptions are written in Sanskrit and ancient Khmer language. Sanskrit was the language of the educated people and the royal court. The Sanskrit inscriptions of Cambodge engraved on the stone bear ample testimony to the highly flourishing state of Sanskrit literature in Cambodge during this period. They are a distinct poetic literature of ancient India. The language bears a solemn elegance. These inscriptions show a deep knowledge of the rules, regulations, and practices of Hinduism. They reflect a thorough acquaintance not only with the various gods and goddesses in their numerous names and forms, but also with the philosophical concepts behind them. But what is more striking in Cambodge is not only the external forms of Indian religion, but also the ethical and spiritual view of life it perpetuated. The inscriptions depict piety and a deep yearning of Khmers for emancipation from the cycles of birth and death, a longing for the attainment of the highest bliss by a union with the universal consciousness, the Lord Shiv. Along with devotional and spiritual functions, the temple of Banteay Srey also served as a center for education. The teachers and students used to live together here. The inscription of the year 967 AD further says that Yagyabra was learned in the sacred scriptures, ancient sciences, philosophy, ethics, astrology, and Buddhist philosophy. He used to teach ancient knowledge of Patanjali, Kannad, Gautam, and Kapil. Yagyavra taught grammar and sculptural arts to his younger brother Vishnu Kumar. He knew many languages and scripts, and they were taught in the temple as well. The professors and teachers were supposed to devote fully themselves to teaching and complete their teaching assignments well in time. The king of Cambodge, Sri Jaivarman V, had issued a regulation.
Nothing should be partaken from the temple for the king or for the persons dear to the king, nor should they be considered to be eligible for it. This pious foundation, created by the performers of sacrifices, should be protected at all cost.
The queen had also issued an advice.
In the temple, the evil should be punished and the good should be revered, so that the righteous system and order are preserved and maintained. For anyone visiting the temple, the prevalent norms should be inquired and adhered to.
Another important inscription of year 969 AD, Shak 891, after 1 year of its foundation, tells us about the visit of King Jaivarman V. The inscription is written partly in Sanskrit and partly in Khmer. The Sanskrit portion contains an invocation to Lord Shiv called Sri Tribhuvan Maheshwar in 11 couplets. The Khmer text, 23 lines in prose, records the donations made by King Jaivarman V to Lord Sri Tribhuvan Maheshwar, the pious foundation of his father King Rajendra Varman II. It also defines the limits of the domain of the temple. Besides the philosophical aspect, in this Shaivite temple, like others, elaborate rituals included music and dance, which had an appeal to the masses. The temple also served as a center for art and culture. The inscription says that Yagivara was proficient in dance as well as in instrumental music. Music concerts and dance dramas used to be organized during the festivals and important occasions. The themes of these dances were generally from the sacred ancient scriptures like Ramayana. Just outside the enclosure was found a beautifully carved door lintel showing Varun, the Lord of West. The lintel, which is now lying on the ground, must have adorned one of the doors of third entry tower. A causeway leads from the third entry door to the main temple, passing across the moat. A moat encircles the temple. It must have been full of water when the temple was in use. Today, it is dry. The water around the temple not only served the practical needs of daily life of the people living in the temple, but its presence was equally essential for the spiritual purposes. Across the moat is the second entry door leading to the temple. This central tower has two porches and triangular door pediments. The Banteay Srey temple is very small in size, but it has been grandly executed. The feeling is that of divine glory. One quietly moves from the mundane world to the realm of sublimity and calmness. The first porch of main door has the King of Heaven, Indra, on its pediment. The purely ornamental decorations are omnipresent. They include elaborate vine and foliage scrolls, lotus flowers, and mythological beings. On the second porch behind it, a beautifully carved goddess Lakshmi, consort of Lord Vishnu, is shown being garlanded by two elephants. Below is Karur, the mount of Lord Vishnu. Another mythological being, Makar, is shown on the either ends of the pediment. Just across the door, there are small rooms where the images of gods might have been established. to the centralmost area of the temple, which have 3 shrines and 2 libraries. The central shrine and the one on its south are dedicated to Lord Shiv. The one on the north is dedicated to Lord Vishnu. All the door pediments and lintels on the central as well as those on the southern side depict the various stories of Lord Shiv. Those on the northern side depict the stories of Lord Vishnu as Lord Krishna. On the door pediments of all the shrines are sculpted the gods of their respective directions. Yamraj Dev, the god of death, in south; Varun, the god of water, in west; Kuber, the god of wealth, in north; and Indra, the god of rain, in the east. The central shrines and the libraries are enclosed by a brick wall, the remains of which can be seen. The entry to this main enclosure is through 2 entry doors on the east and the west. In front of eastern door pediment is Bull Nandi, the mount of Lord Shiv. On its door pediment is shown Lord Shiv in his dancing form. He is Nataraj and Natakeshwar. As Natakeshwar and Nataraj, Lord Shiv is the lord of all the dances. All performing arts emanate from him. His numerous hands show different postures for meditation, that is, Dhyan Hastamudra. The Tandav dance of Lord Shiv is the ultimate aesthetic representation of final dissolution of the universe. On his door lintel is shown a god or a deity holding the heads of an elephant and a lion. The deity is headless. Its head has perhaps been stolen. On the western door pediment of the eastern entry door is shown the goddess Parvati in her form of goddess Durga as Mahishasur-Mardini. According to Srey Shiv Puran, the goddess Parvati, in the incarnation of goddess Durga, ended the life of tyrant demon Mahishasur. She is shown with 8 arms, fighting with the help of her lion. The demon is shown in the form of a buffalo tied with snakes. On its door lintel is depicted a god with a horse head, holding the heads of 2 Rakshas, the demons. The central area of the temple is full of beautiful buildings, carved like ornaments. The doorways are crowned with usual ornate Khmer lintels. The door pediments bear lively relief figures, creating a strong sense of space. The narrative scenes are equally strong. The central shrine is the largest with highest tower. It has crowning tiers and are peopled with deities, each in a halo of fine ornament. The towers of 2 adjoining sanctuaries are similar in design. Every inch of Banteay Srey is meticulously carved. Truly, it has been called the jewel in the Khmer art. On the western door lintel of the central sanctuary is again shown the abduction of Sita by demon Virad. On the southern door lintel of the central shrine is depicted a single bow, frontally with two archers, placed symmetrically to the center scene. They are Arjun and Lord Shiv in the form of Kirat, the tribal chief. The story is from great Indian epic, the Mahabharata. Arjun appears as an ascetic and a valiant warrior who had the task of re-establishing order on the earth.